Here. Look, I just thought I'd open with a few quick remarks and then we'll get into proceedings. Firstly, can I just say City and Regional Deals is a National Party policy idea and framework that was designed to help us get much better alignment between central and local government on the things that actually really matter most to our people. Because at the end of the day, the government's taxpayers are also Auckland Council's ratepayers. In fact, they're the same people, obviously. And so City and Regional Deals, we hope, will actually get central and local government much more aligned on driving economic growth, jobs and productivity, and also improving the quality of life of Kiwis. And so it's actually only fitting that the very first City and Regional Deal is done with our largest city, and it is awesome to be joined by the Mayor, Wayne Brown, and also Ministers Bishop and Watts as well, and representatives from all across the city that are here today too. Look, I think it's a really exciting time for Auckland City, whether it's the opening of the International Convention Centre, the final stages of the City Rail Link, the relaxed rules to enable more events to happen at Eden Park, and new roads and busways. It feels like things are really happening in the city. And this deal is about keeping that momentum going and making sure that Auckland is built into a truly world-class city, which it is. But most importantly, it's about providing long-term certainty for Auckland, about planning and the delivery of infrastructure, and ensuring both central and local government come to the party with a common view of doing what's best for Aucklanders. I get a lot of people asking me about why we can't work together more across parties or across central and local government. And my answer is that it's a lot easier said than done. Plainly, different people have different politics and different priorities. But we owe it to taxpayers and ratepayers to find the common ground where we can work together and lock that in through deals like this so that there is clarity about where we're all heading as a city. Today's city deal between the government and Auckland Council is a positive step forward for Aucklanders and hopefully the first of many partnerships between central and local government on the things that truly matter to people who we are accountable for and to. I'm going to leave Mayor Brown and also Ministers Bishop and Watts to speak more to the detail of today's agreement, and after that we will sign the deal and then we're happy to take a quick few media questions. Before I close, can I just take also the opportunity to acknowledge Sir Barry Curtis. He was a man who gave 40 years of his life to public service to Manukau and to Auckland, including 24 years as the Mayor of Manukau. I remember when he was made the Mayor, I was a 12-year-old out in Howick, but he was well known as an astute political leader, certainly deeply committed to Manukau and respected by all. And with that, I'll pass over to the Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thanks, okay, morena tātou. I'd like to acknowledge distinguished guests, including the Prime Minister, Ministers Watts and Bishop, Ngāti Whātua leaders, and other distinguished guests. This is a good time for you to gather. When Aucklanders voted me in for a second term, I was clear that my focus would be on finishing the fix on transport, reform and housing intensification, lifting the Auckland's economy and securing the city deal. Today we are signing New Zealand's first city deal, locking in another step towards a better working relationship with Wellington. It's a good start. It's not everything either side wanted, but it is a good beginning. I thank the Prime Minister and the Government for this common sense approach, one that recognises our city's contribution to the national economy and the potential for Auckland to solve some of the country's productivity woes. Make no mistake, this is a new way of working with shared accountability between Auckland and central government. This will require a change of mindset for a lot of government agencies who are used to leading things from Wellington. The deal recognises the size and scope of Auckland. We're more like an Australian state than any other local authority in New Zealand. We're not just another small town. Auckland represents a third of New Zealand's population and contributes 40% of GDP and is the international gateway to the country. It's clear, when Auckland does well, it should lift the rest of New Zealand. In the deal, we didn't ask for a long list of projects or magic money tree from the taxpayer. What we asked for was to be treated like grown-ups, to shift away from the parent-child relationship of the past towards something based on mutual respect and an acknowledgement of Auckland's significance. It's not about the money, it's about mutual respect. We signed up to the deal because we want to leverage Auckland's scale and be responsible for our own success. This deal will focus on our collective efforts on agreed priorities, like integrated planning and better value for money. It puts an end to unwelcome policies arriving unannounced without any discussion or unfunded mandates arriving in the post. We will partner with the government to unlock Auckland's full economic potential by delivering better outcomes for transport, urban development, innovation and technology, global trade and tourism and the environment, and we'll use our size to help the economy, given that world trade is now very much city to city, and we are really our only one. Transport, for example, is a major priority for all of us. We're committed to working with the government to enable the very first 30-year integrated transport plan for people and freight for Auckland that will prioritise smart investment like removing railway level crossings to unlock congestion and improving Auckland's rapid transit network. I'd like to thank Simeon Brown, who's not here, but for introducing the law to give us back control to AT, and Chris Bishop for driving it through. I also want to acknowledge Simon Watts, who I had a beer with on Tuesday, so he's off to a good start as the Minister for Auckland, not to Auckland. One of the next big tasks to be done jointly is the 30-year transport plan, which will challenge both parties, especially as the Infrastructure Commission has pointed out how unaffordable some of the choices are. Network optimisation to get the best out of what we have will be our priority. The current fuel crisis is an excellent reminder of how important it is to invest in the right things, like a strong and reliable public transport network. We must use this crisis to get more people on board the electric trains and buses, especially with the cheap $50 a week fare cap. It's good value. With flexibility on Plan Change 120 and the Joint Regional Spatial Plan, we will be better prepared and to enable to plan for growth appropriately. We will intensify housing where it makes sense, where we have invested significantly with transport routes in mind, near where people work and not in floodplains. The deal also commits to growing Auckland's globally competitive tech and innovation economy and strengthening the opportunities in the tourism and hospitality sectors to set them up for the future. Having started the Auckland Tech Alliance right here, I'm looking forward to launching the New Zealand Institute of Advanced Technology with the government and driving the creation of a centre of excellence for research, startups and industry to set our brightest minds up for success and attract international investment. And my thanks to Shane Retty for agreeing to have the Institute here in Auckland. Supporting greater access to the port and the airport and positioning Auckland as a key Pacific trading hub and global destination is another priority. Auckland is New Zealand's only global city, and today we recognise that by signing this deal. Now the real work begins, and so thank you, Prime Minister and Ministers, and I'll hand over to you, Bish. Slot it back.
I'll just see you. Well, good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to be here, Prime Minister, Your Worship, Simon. Great to be here in Auckland. Auckland is critically important to the future of this country, and this government's driving ambition, central mission, is to lift growth and prosperity to deliver higher living standards for New Zealanders and for Aucklanders. And this deal that we're announcing today is an important part of laying the foundations for that. It doesn't seek to reinvent the wheel and build layer of bureaucracy upon layer of bureaucracy. We have enough of that. It's actually about pulling together all of the exciting work that is already happening between central government and Auckland Council and laying the foundation for future collaboration around mutually agreed priorities centred around lifting living standards, economic growth, housing, urban development and infrastructure and all of the things that come from that. There's been a bit of talk in the media that this is underwhelming and that there's not much to this. I encourage people to actually read the deal and read the agreement that's been signed. There's a bucket load of stuff in there, more than enough things to get on with for the next 10 and 20 years combined around innovation, around transport, around infrastructure, around growth in Auckland. I wanted to just pull out a couple of highlights that I think people should be interested in, with the prefatory point to say that a lot is happening here already. The Essential Interceptor is about to finish. We've just confirmed more funding for the Eastern Busway. Obviously, the NZICC has just opened. CRL will open later in the year, at some point. Not allowed to say exactly when. Last year, the Minister of Rail and I announced the completion of the third main line, which didn't get a lot of attention, but is actually really important to separating out freight from passenger rail in Auckland, been a project talked about for 30 years. We're building new train stations at Drury, at Pararata, and we've electrified the line to Pukekohe, just to name just a few things that have happened just in the last year or 18 months. And there's three things I wanted to highlight in terms of what's next. The first is the first time central government is recognising Eden Park as New Zealand's national stadium, which hopefully will put an end to the endless debate around future stadia. Eden Park is there, it's our national stadium. It has capacity for 50,000 people, and it's got a train station right next door to it, which, by the way, will have huge amount of capacity growth on the back of City Rail Link. And it's got a huge amount of capacity for urban growth around there. So Eden Park will be our national stadium. We are obviously freeing up the planning rules. In fact, that takes effect today to allow more concerts and events at Eden Park. We've also come to an arrangement with Auckland Cricket so that they will leave Eden Park and relocate to Colin Maiden, which is part of a longer-term piece of work to unpick the very complicated arrangements around Eden Park to make sure that it can truly grow into the national stadium it can and should be. And we'll have more to say about that soon, but it's very important. The Mayor touched on the 30-year transport plan. What we're trying to do as a government is move towards long-term transport funding settings, and the Prime Minister has talked about that repeatedly since we came to government. This will set in place a 30-year transport plan for Auckland alongside the Auckland transport legislation that is about to pass the Parliament. We did hope to have it done last sitting week, but parliamentary chicanery got in the way, but it will be done in the next couple of weeks. Priority projects, the North West Busway, very important project for Auckland, replicating the success of the Northern Busway across the Harbour Bridge, the Eastern Busway out to the east, making sure that we can get cars off the roads and get people into buses, particularly important at the moment, but that is only going to grow in importance. So the North Western Busway is a priority project. Botany to Airport as well. The level crossing project to remove the constraints on the network so that we can maximise the benefits of City Rail Link. Some would say we should have been doing that 10 years ago. Let's let bygones be bygones and not live in the past. Let's focus on the future. We're getting on with that now. We turned the sod on that with the Prime Minister and the Mayor October, November. That work's underway. There's more work to do on that. And Mill Road out to the south, a very important project for housing growth and congestion. It's a shame that Judith Collins has just left the ministry, otherwise she would be here lauding Mill Road. We're going to work together on time of use pricing, congestion pricing for Auckland. Passed Parliament unanimously last year. We're going to work together with the Council on that. And of course, dare I mention it, Your Worship, the additional harbour crossing in Auckland, we will work together on that as well. Finally, before I hand over to Simon, who I know will have some things to say, I'm really excited about priority growth areas for Auckland. This is a recognition that there are some areas, all of Auckland's important, but there are some areas where the productivity benefits, the urban development opportunities, the growth opportunities are greater than others and where it makes sense to invest. So we are building a new city in Drury. A lot of people are unaware of that, but we are basically building a city the size of Napier in Drury. And over the last 10 to 15 years, almost by accident, we've started building a new city. Well, I've talked publicly, and some of you have heard me rant away before, about how uncoordinated and disconnected that has been. That is going to change with this deal. It's not immediate, but it will change over time. So focusing on Drury, focusing on, as I say, the area around Eden Park, around Mongofo, around Kingsland, that growth corridor, enormous potential, focusing on there. Focusing on the CBD, I've just started an investigation into freeing up some of the planning rules in the CBD as part of the PC 120 debate. Let's not get into that today, but I've just started an investigation into that. There's some really simple changes we can make there to unlock growth in the CBD and the airport as well. Again, people are a bit unaware. Biggest infrastructure project in New Zealand happening right now is actually out at Auckland Airport. A multi-billion-dollar project to transform the gateway for New Zealand for foreign visitors and tourists into New Zealand at Auckland Airport. But that whole corridor is an enormous hub of employment, jobs, and opportunity, an underappreciated, in my view, part of Auckland, and we are going to focus on that as part of that as well. So it's an exciting day for Auckland. It's an exciting day for the government. Can I thank the Prime Minister for his leadership on this? Because this, as I'm sure Simon will tell you about, is something we dreamed up in opposition. And here we are 2.5 years later, and it's been led by the Prime Minister, obviously, and it's great to see us finally here doing it. So thank you, PM, for your leadership on this, and thank you all for coming. It's an exciting day for Auckland. Looking forward to the jobs and growth that will come. Cheers.
Well, tēnā koutou katoa, everyone. What a great day for Auckland today. I want to acknowledge the Prime Minister, Mayor Brown, Minister Bishop, and also Ngārimu Blair from Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei. Great to have you here. I want to also acknowledge all the councillors, members of Parliament, and actually business leaders, representatives of our big organisations here in New Zealand's biggest and fastest growing city, Auckland. Great to have you here, and great for having your support. Today's signing marks a decisive shift forward in how we approach the future of our largest city. And this is a recognition of a mutual respect and recognition on the impact that this city makes to New Zealand and our economy. The Prime Minister has made it very clear to me that my number one job as the Minister for Auckland, as the Mayor has highlighted, is to make sure around that Cabinet table that I am ensuring that every decision that is made around that Cabinet table works for this city. And I am an Aucklander based over on the North Shore, and every morning I wake up and think about how I can contribute to making sure this place is one of the damn best cities on the globe to live, raise a family and retire. And it can be because it has significant untapped potential. This matters because Auckland's scale and its makeup is unique. 1/3 of Kiwis call New Zealand and call Auckland city home, and the quality of life of Aucklanders depends on us as government and local government getting the big decisions right. This deal delivers on a mandate focusing on the fundamentals around infrastructure, transport, innovation, housing and skills via structural changes, and the structural changes part is very important. This deal is about unlocking Auckland's economic potential, and we must ensure that Auckland is moving, building and equipping the next generation of residents to be able to make the most of the opportunity in which they face. Key to this approach is about relationship. I talked about mutual recognition and mutual respect, and this is about relationship also with our business community. And what businesses need from both Wellington and Auckland is certainty and alignment. And for the first time, we have a mechanism in which we are both paddling in the waka in the same direction. And that is cannot be underestimated, and this deal provides exactly that. It is the first of its kind in terms of a long-term partnership. It sets a new standard in terms of how central and local government works together. The Prime Minister has always echoed that we need to have a relationship of adult to adult. And this is action on paper in the context of the deal, and we now need to make that a reality. We're moving past the days of us working in cross purposes and not working on the same plan. We are now together working on the same plan. Ultimately, this is about certainty, and more importantly, for residents of New Auckland, this is about delivery. When we align the long-term planning, we are building the foundations of a stronger, more prosperous Auckland. Because we know that when Auckland grows, the whole country grows. And when Auckland succeeds, it lifts productivity, it attracts global investment that we so critically need, and importantly, it creates opportunities for every Kiwi in our country. It's a very proud moment to be able to be here to launch the first Auckland City regional deal, And for those that have contributed on this long journey, as Minister Bishop said, from the days in opposition to now, thank you very much. But the key is now making this work in reality, and that's what we're all committed to doing. So I'm now going to hand back to the PM and Mayor, who are going to do the signing ceremony of the deal at the table over the back. And again, then we'll open up for some